Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. Today we are diving into Kantian ethics and how they relate to AI-generated assignment. We live in an era where technology assists us in countless ways, but that also raises ethical questions, especially in education. Kant's deontological ethics focus on duty rather than consequences, offered in a structured way to evaluate moral dilemmas. By exploring his famous categorical imperative, we'll determine whether submitting AI-generated work aligns with Kant's moral principles. I hope this discussion sparks a reflection on integrity, responsibility, and the role of AI in learning. Let's begin the overview. To structure our discussion, here is what we'll cover today. First, we establish what Kantian ethics entail, his focus on duty and moral law. Next, we explore the three formulations of the categorical imperative, which serve as ethical tests for any action. We'll then apply these principles to AI-assisted assignment and examine their real-world implications, particularly in education. Finally, we reflect on why Kant's ideas remain relevant and conclude with the ethical lessons we can take from them. By the end, I hope we'll have a deeper appreciation for how philosophy can guide practical ethical decision-making. What is Kantian deontology? Kantian ethics are duty-based, meaning morality doesn't depend on outcomes, but on adherence to rational moral laws. So that's the idea. Unlike utilitarianism, which assesses right and wrong based on results, Kant argues that ethical actions must be guided by reason and universal principles, not just purely depending on you, but on universal principles. For example, lying might sometimes create a favorable outcome, but Kant says lying is always wrong because it contradicts the very foundation of trust. This rigid framework ensures consistency in ethical decision-making. Kant believed humans have a moral duty to act rightly regardless of external pressure. His philosophy continues to shape discussions on justice, fairness, and personal responsibility, making it highly relevant to modern dilemmas. Hope it's making sense. Let us now go to the categorical imperative. The categorical imperative is Kant's core ethical principle, establishing a universal moral law that applies to everyone. So it's different from hypothetical imperative. So it's different from this one. The hypothetical imperative depends on specific desires. Like, if you want to pass, study hard. Instead, categorical imperative dictates moral duties that hold regardless of circumstance. Kant believes that ethics should be rooted in rules we could logically endorse for everyone. So this approach prevents contradictions and maintains moral consistency. So we'll see how these principles unfold in three formulations, each offering a unique perspective on ethical behavior. So these tests will help us analyze AI-generated assignments and whether submitting them meets Kantian moral standards. Okay, is it making sense? Yeah, if it's making sense, let us go now to the first formulation. The first test asks, Can this action be universally applied without contradiction? That's the first question. So that's the first test asked. Can these actions, we're asking about the action, if it can be applied universally without contradiction. Imagine every student submitted AI-generated work or assignment. If this become universal practice, what do you think education would become? Education itself would collapse, because learning requires personal engagement, thought, and effort. Kant emphasizes that moral actions must be sustainable as universal laws. If a behavior leads to logical contradiction when applied universally, it must be moral impermissible. In this case, AI-generated assignment failed the test, academic integrity, and undermine the purpose of education itself. This shows that using AI to complete work or assignment without personal effort contradicts the ethical foundation of learning. Do we all agree with that? Let us now go to the second formulation. Kant's second formulation is about respecting human dignity. So we must treat people as ends, never merely as means to an outcome. Other people can use you as a means to get what they want. So deception violates this principle. If a student submits AI-generated work without disclosure, they mislead educators into believing the work is their own. This not only compromises trust, but also undermines the teacher's role in guiding genuine intellectual development. Teachers assess assignments to understand a student's progress, and falsifying that understanding disrespects their work and purpose. Academic integrity fosters mutual respect between students and educators, reinforcing the importance of honest engagement in the learning process. So, if that's clear, let us go to I mentioned 3, so let us go to the last formulation. Kant's final formulation centers on moral autonomy, the ability to govern oneself with ethical responsibility. So when making decisions, we should act as if we are legislating moral laws for everyone. So this means upholding values like honesty and accountability. Using AI-generated assignments undermines autonomy because it replaces personal effort with automated output, bypassing responsibility for learning. So true autonomy involves making ethical choices even when alternatives seem easier. So academic honesty isn't just about following institutional rules. It reflects our personal commitment to integrity. When we engage in the learning with authenticity, we strengthen both individual character and academic trust. Okay, let us look at real-world implications. So applying Kantian ethics to education reinforces values like honesty, diligence, and fairness. Institutions promote these principles through academic policies that discourage plagiarism and dishonesty. Ethical learning isn't just about avoiding punishment. It builds trust in educational systems and strengthens personal integrity. Today, AI challenges these values, forcing us to critically evaluate its appropriate role in academia. Should AI be a tool for assistance rather than a substitute for intellectual effort? So this discussion extends beyond school. You can agree with me. It shapes professional ethics, workplace integrity, and social responsibility. Upholding Kantian principles ensures that as technology advances, ethical standards remain intact. That's the point, should remain intact. Before we conclude, let us look at ethical reflection. So, at its heart, Kantian ethics demands internal moral consistency. Integrity means acting rightly, even when shortcuts exist. Even if you know shortcuts exist. Kantian morals, integrity means acting rightly. Ethics aren't shaped by conveniency or popular trends. They emerge from reason and duty. In education, honesty fosters genuine growth, and learning only happens when individuals engage deeply with knowledge. The discussion on AI-generated assignment isn't just about policy, it's about our responsibilities to make ethical choices that align with our values. Ethical reasons requires discipline, and Kantian philosophy helps us uphold moral duties even when faced with tempting alternatives. There will be tempting alternatives. So let us conclude in this way. In summary, Kantian deontology centers morality on duty. AI-generated assignment violates all three formulations of the categorical imperative. They fail the universalizability test. They disrespect educators and they undermine personal autonomy. Learning is about more than submitting answers. It's about cultivating knowledge, critical thinking, and ethical decision making. Academic integrity is essential not just for grades, but for character development. Kantian ethics remind us that honest respect and autonomy must remain at the heart of education. As AI technology evolves, we must uphold ethical standards that ensure its responsible use in learning environment. So thank you all for coming. Really appreciate. Hope you have learned something, and I wish you all the best in all your endeavors as you start and look ahead. All right.